Chapter 1, Part 3. The silver Ariel awoke before the sun appeared over the horizon and began to speak to the tree. One evening there came a man of worked hands, calloused over from years of hard work, and an arched back that he stood with a hump over his shoulder, and to the stranger's words he was known as Demeter. He pulled along his walks with him a white and gray-spotted horse. Each night he took care to the horse and his plots of lands, when his wrists were stricken stiff from arthritis. And when a day came he was so happy he had never felt such joy. A bearded man came up to him and said, "You hypocrite, how dare you work your land and not use your own work?" His day was ruined. He had finally finished a full night's harvest, and his entitlement was driving his land to work. He asked, "What is your name?" And the bearded man scolded him and said, "I am Ohm." So he sold his horse and killed himself. Someone made him a statue, yet I care to say it's all Galathioth wants me to do. I am not even as free as that bird, yet I'm freer than you, tree. You never bring a fruit of your labors. To think someone cared enough to provide food to his people, and all he heard was how his ingenuity led him to be a hypocrite for an iota. And the ellipsis tree could say was cur, as the wind tossed the limbs back and forth. The silver Ariel said, "I concur as well." So the flower at the tree of the ellipsis tree shaped itself into the figure of Demeter. Zalpua stood on the peak of the western mountains, outside the handle of thunder, and stared across the sky. The sun was low in the sky, and from the tree saw the silver Ariel. It stood hollow silver, and presented itself before the silver Ariel. "Before whom do you know thyself to the effort of what is your name?" The silver Ariel did not answer. "You are Meriath." The silver Ariel did not reply again. "By the Lahario, you will run and no longer fly, until Galathioth has granted you forgiveness, and Norgoth no longer cries at nights because of you. Your shoes will be sent to you from Mephibosheth, and your messenger of Percreptics will come before you, and you will have a task." The silver Ariel finally took a breath and spoke. "Before Phylactris, I am silver Ariel, and Ariel." A member of a group claiming to work for Keontu threatened to take my wings from me while investigating a thief of the night in a Rissa bar. Zalpua frowned and sat upon the lower bough of the ellipsis tree. "Norgoth will not favor you. You claim to be Lord Ares, and Galathioth will detest you for claiming to be his Chosiba." Silver Ariel did not change his expression of pain. "I do not need this favor, or your favor, or anyone's favor, only the respect to return my wings to me." Zalpua gave it a thought, and with a word the wind began again. "When Keontu is before you, do not ask for anything. She will give you a map of Galathioth. You also have spoken with the ellipsis tree, and were not invited, and Galathioth and his people will always say you are fallen." Zalpua dissipated into a fog of silver. When Zalpua had reconfigured again, it stood atop the western mountains. Against the sky a bright light shined from the peak of the mountain, and silver Ariel covered its eyes. With billowing clouds the silver Ariel fell to sleep. The flower of the trunk of the tree shriveled up again, and with the oncoming of the night sky its leaves flourished once again into a glowing green, and the splits of the bark of the tree with the twisting turns of the wind formed a spell La Raham, A green stranger appeared before the silver Ariel at the river's bend and waited for the silver Ariel to awaken. He appeared wearing an overgarment of teal and green. Lo Rahim! Lo Rahim! You were charged by the lords of Zillah for speaking one thing and believing another, that not even your words presentable before Goliath. The stranger held in its hand a rolled letter tightly between its palm and fingers. It raised its hands, holding the letter towards the silver Ariel. Do you read this letter? The silver Ariel replied, I have taken no food for days. I have traveled no further than this tree. I have been readdressed as another individual and refused to listen. I see your hand but do not recognize the contents. The night sky was darkened and speckled with millions of points of lights, and the clouds dwindled to a nothing. The stranger disappeared.